So if you can introduce yourself and
Okay.
then talk about your students.
All right. We ready?
Yes.
Yeah. My name is Sherry Thompson. I teach English as a second language at Whatcom Community College. I have worked in the immigrant refugee program for 13 years here in Bellingham, Washington. And last February, I had two of my students who were picked up in the Yamada motor raids. It was devastating. It broke up their families. One of them had a co-partner, not a wife, but that he'd been with for 6, 7 years. 4 children were involved. He was the mainstay and financial support of that family. Some of the children are young. There is no way that that mother, who was not picked up because she doesn't work at Yamato Motors, will be able to sustain herself and the children. I do not know what has happened to them specifically, but I know that it totally devastated this family. He was holding down 2 jobs. He was working at a restaurant as a waiter, and he was working at Yamato Motors. I mean, this is an example of the finest that we want for our citizens, to work hard and have a good family and be centered in the community, which he was. The other situation, it was just as frightening. It was a very young man, 22, who was living with his brother in an apartment. The brother was 17. He was in high school, a senior in high school, ready to graduate. His older brother was the one who was working at Yamato and supporting him, and when the older brother got picked up and taken to Tacoma Detention Center, the whole apartment and financial arrangement and everything fell apart for the younger brother. He was on the soccer team at one of the local high schools. He was not able to continue. Eventually, in a few weeks' time, he was shuffled off to live with an uncle in Oregon. I doubt very much that he will graduate, even although he came within a hair of being able to do that, but all of his support was gone. There was extended family, but no one that was able to take him in.
Wow, thank you.
The rest of the story is that after these workers from Yamato Motors, who were my students, were taken down to the Tacoma Detention Center, they were kept down there for 30 days with very little care. It's a very bad place to go, and a very poor communication. I don't know if they got medical care, and so on. And then what happened next was that they were the case was coming to trial, and they were given a 1-year permit to work. And so now these students whose families were disrupted, whose apartments were lost, whose brothers had been sent off to Oregon, whose wife and children were struggling, now they have this 1-year permit, which is a special permit that has evidently never been issued before. And the uncertainty of it and how they could possibly get a job with this 1-year permit is really confounding to me. I mean, anyone who would see this permit would know they had no more than 1 year's ability at the most to work in the United States. And as it turned out, the case went to court very quickly, and within a matter of a couple of months, the case was settled. And at that time, those work permits, as I understand it, were rescinded. And so I am hoping that my students, whom I enjoyed working with for several quarters, I'm hoping they are long gone, because at that point, I have no idea what they could do next. Their lives were in disarray. Their families are disintegrating, and now, as far as I can figure out, they are supposed to step up and be deported. I don't think so.
So what do you think needs to change?
Well, I think the whole immigration system is broken, and I think the whole thing needs to be changed. I mean, it has to. It's so big I can't give you a single answer. But people who are here and who have been here for a long time and who work as productive citizens should not be penalized, and should not have to live in fear of the constant threat of deportation. I think that's a terrible thing to do to any person. I don't have a direct answer except to move forward with legislation, and so that's the key. We have to work within the system. We have to find the legislation, and we have to change it that will make it workable. I don't have details of how to do that, but just some action.
Thank you.